Yo, what it do, guys? We are back with another reaction video, and this video is by Maddie Balls. How WorldStar destroyed their platform. Now, if y'all were born any time before 2007, you'd probably remember the WorldStar, whenever people get into a fight. You get swung on, someone got a camera out, they yell WorldStar. You know you gotta fight for your life because this is gonna be the highlight fight of the night. But seriously, like, for some reason during I want to say like the Vine era, roughly 2013 to 2017, WorldStar was dominating from being in just random rap videos, just the WorldStar logo on it, to everybody being like, oh, WorldStar fights. WorldStar got crazy shit. But then, oh my god, I remember close to like 2018, that's when I started seeing WorldStar just promoting hoes. I'm like, okay, that's where y'all lost me. But I was never really big into WorldStar. Just always seen them around, kind of like DJ Khaled. You don't really know much about him. You just see him everywhere because his name is everywhere. But besides the point, let's hop right into the video.
He was yelling WorldStar when there was a fight. Or you would go and check out WorldStar's page to find some of the hottest up and coming artists. But nowadays, it just seems like a page where anybody and everybody can post their mediocre music videos, and their blog posts these days just seem to lack the entertainment value that once made them stand out. So to understand how WorldStar went from being this huge cultural influence to something that no one really talks about anymore, we gotta go back to its creation. Also, another big page that used to have a bit more of a cultural influence was Lyrical Lemonade. But I feel like they kind of lost that touch, and I want to talk about it. But I might get cooked for my...
Okay. Just off first glance, I'm already seeing it could just be like a oversaturation thing. And then social media, just they got no attention. Like, the way social media is pretty toxic. Like, think of YouTubers, for example. People expect YouTubers to have videos out every single day when sometimes they're just one person or a small team. And it's just like, yo, just because y'all want to consume doesn't mean we can produce that much. But big groups like WorldStar or Lyrical Lemonade, they can produce it, and they will. And look, I know y'all see that 415 Shot of Flow remix. Well, that is Shot of Flow. But Juice WRLD, Lil Skies, Lil Tecca, they have over billions of views, but they fell off. Between the rap game in general just falling off over the past few years to, I'm gonna say they're probably just shit posting, like just posting internet slop that doesn't really matter, that nobody really cares about, which is why you probably don't hear people talk about WorldStar or even Lyrical Lemonade. Shit, you barely hear people talk about Genius.
opinion. So let me know what you guys think down below, and make sure to subscribe and stick around, and I'll make the video in the next couple weeks. Anyways, let's continue. In 2005, a guy named Lee O'Donnell, aka Q, was trying to make some money. As a rap fan, he decided to start a website called WorldStar HipHop so he could sell mixtapes. However, for whatever reason, hackers decided to destroy his website right after it was launched, so Q had a little bit of a setback. But he decided, after being inspired by YouTube, that he would shift the content of his website to becoming more of a video platform instead.
How did you start WorldStar? Like, how was that idea?
I mean, it came about just like, seeing the space with YouTube, the success of YouTube back then when it got signed with Google. And I noticed that everything's going to be going towards videos, because I was one of the first cats to do a mixtape sites in '01. And then I was like, yo, this, it's too saturated right now. Let me go ahead and think of the next curve. So that was like videos online.
Damn, bro is actually ahead of his time. Like, sometimes you get that inkling, like, what's going on? And then you get that idea. I might be able to make this work. And then you do it, and it works. Hardest part is holding on to it, like, the same thing with money. You could get money, you could be up, but how long are you going to hold that relevance for? And honestly, I feel like that's a personal thing. Once you get to the position where you're at, how long do you want to be successful for? Because if 5 years is a good run for you, that's what's up. If 20 years is a good run for you, that's what's up. But if you want to go to like 60 years of just straight dominance, then I don't know. You might need to learn how to be satisfied with something. Because realistically, you could have said, the narrative should be WorldStar was a successful platform. But it's not anymore, just because things die out over time and attention gets switched. But bro's doing his shit and pretty much dominated the 2010s. I don't see how that's a L.
I'm saying I respect the DVDs in the hood.
Unless it's a self-destructed L.
And I felt like cats can't get these DVDs to be seen all over the world. So, why not, chop it up, break it up, and put it out there. So
he's the reason we don't have people in the parking lot selling DVDs anymore. He might be cleaning up the streets, not gonna lie.
The whole masses just loved it,
Very quickly, he started posting videos on the WorldStar website, but there was something interesting about the videos he was posting. A lot of the WorldStar videos were crazy, almost live leak level crazy. It was fight videos, sexual videos, and everything and anything in between. It wasn't entirely hip-hop related. Honestly, most of it wasn't hip-hop related, and it wasn't long before it just became known as a website that had crazy fight videos and things like that.
See, this looks like it's right before when I found out about WorldStar, because I didn't know it was like a shitpost website, low-key.
Like that. One of the first vids that kind of blew the site up was when a guy who went by the name Trashman took responsibility
2008, definitely before.
For killing the rapper Stacked Bundles. And with this type of crazy content, pretty quickly WorldStar was getting 4 million views a month. And eventually they became so widely known for crazy fight videos that everyone was screaming WorldStar when there was a fight.
When you look at how far WorldStar has come, I mean, it's a phenomenon, right? You hear people say WorldStar, right? It is a meme on camera now.
It's a battle cry.
Yeah.
WorldStar! WorldStar! WorldStar!
Yeah, WorldStar! Damn! Yeah,
WorldStar!
I'm telling you guys, every fight video you would hear that shit. And it's going online, so that's when you're like, okay, I got more than just rage to fight for. I gotta fight for myself. I gotta fight for my dignity. Because this shit's going on WorldStar.
WorldStar! How's that for badass? Woo! WorldStar! WorldStar!
And obviously it wasn't only fight videos. They had some other stuff like funny moments, twerk videos, and pretty much anything else that
Crackhead videos
was entertaining. To get an idea of what they were posting, they would title their videos things like
It's pretty much a watered down version of what Instagram Reels is today. Or at least the dark side of Reels.
warned him, bully asking for a fight gets dropped, or one-legged man on crutches tries to shoot up a store. They even had a video called Rat and Pigeon go at it in Brooklyn. All of their videos had that early internet vibe that's pretty hard to describe, but you can really only see it on like Facebook nowadays. It's hard to explain how culturally relevant WorldStar was, but I remember back in like middle school, everyone was watching their fight videos on the computers in the computer lab, and everyone would scream WorldStar when something crazy happened. It was truly a different time. But what was unique about WorldStar is that apart from YouTube, they were one of the first places on the internet to post funny moments, fight videos, and crazy clips that people love to watch. There was also this infamous hip-hop groupie named Kat Stacks who would post viral videos on there talking about her sexual experiences with rappers. One of her viral videos was one of her with Soulja Boy, and her later saying that he was a crackhead. And things like this helped to blow up WorldStar for a while, until she claimed years later that Q paid her to make up these stories. Another thing they did differently was the watermark. I don't know how often people were watermarking things back in the late 2000s.
Shit was everywhere. I'm like, does that come default on these guys' phones?
But WorldStar watermarked all of their viral videos, which drove a ton of attention to the website. WorldStar got so big that companies were...
But facts, it would get watermarked, then reposted, then cropped, then watermarked by the spam account, and then reposted. Oh my god, shit would look so bad.
Even using it for promotion, with people like Diddy even using WorldStar to announce his work with Ciroc Vodka, which was a good thing back then. Q was getting tens of millions of dollars in investment offers for his company and clearly was on the come up. By 2011 and 2012, WorldStar was probably at their peak popularity, ranking as the 278th most visited URL in the United States. WorldStar got...
Yeah, I would say like 2013 is when, 2015. That was around the time I first got a phone, and yeah, that's WorldStar Vine time.
So big that it got to the point where the police would even monitor the website when looking for leads. A spokesperson for one sheriff's department said,
That's how it is with Instagram and Snapchat. We've reacted to videos where kids, teens, post the dumb shit they do and then get caught. Of course they're gonna do that. It's social media, it's the internet, it's free access. So if a lot of crazy shit's going on where we could get some busts, we're gonna use all of our resources. You know, that's how cops think.
Pretty much rely on the public to report on these videos, and they are pretty good about sending them to us. As you can imagine, if the police are monitoring your website to get like leads on their cases, there may be some issues. And that was definitely the case, as WorldStar very quickly became very controversial. Billboard once
That kind of sounds like Kick.
described WorldStar as often being dismissed for lowest common denominator entertainment, and this type of thing garnered a lot of complaints against the site. One of the most famous criticisms of the website is when a video was posted of a kid who was saying he wanted to kill President Bush.
By listening closely, the President of the United States of America, George W. Bush, will die. And I'm serious this time, I'm not playing around. Somebody gotta take care of the trash, somebody gotta take him out.
Are you guys really tripping on this, bro? This is like the average kid on Instagram. It's like the average 11-year-old on Instagram. Saying cringy shit, wild shit they think is funny shit. They don't even understand the true extent to what they're doing. This nigga probably got swatted.
And that's gonna be one of my people.
Instagram comments would be like, swat the little nigga.
So watch out, George W. Bush. There's gonna be snipers, killers, and bounty hunts coming from you.
Apparently there was like 8 minutes of this, and I thought it was hilarious because who's taking this little kid seriously? But apparently Bill O'Reilly from Fox News was taking him seriously because he did a whole segment attacking WorldStar for posting this video.
Kid looks to be about 9 or 10 on his hip-hop website. Do we know anything more about it?
It's really disgusting. It's really frightening.
It's child abuse. It's crime. This is a crime. If this were an adult, the Secret Service would arrest the adult. Now, I believe the Secret Service should arrest the parents of this kid and the purveyor of the website. Now, we know who the website is, correct?
Yes, it's registered, but I don't know much else about him.
Well, the Secret Service should investigate this, and you can't arrest the kid, but you can start. This is child abuse. There's no question this is child abuse.
So yeah, this situation was a pretty big deal and one of the first major attacks on WorldStar. Although looking back, I can't believe that this was anyone's main complaint about the website.
What if they aren't forcing their kid to say anything? What if the kid freely thinks that, or, you know?
What's really funny about this, though, is that after Bill O'Reilly was kicked off Fox for a sexual harassment controversy, WorldStar reported on it, which I bet they did with a lot of joy. However, there were some much more serious complaints against WorldStar. One of them was the age-old complaint of kids being able to access the website. But Q said, well, it's up to the parents. The parents got to put that censorship on their computers. There were also many other people who said it was unethical for Q and WorldStar to profit off of people's suffering with all the fight videos or to make money from the many other controversial things that happened on there.
Which, yeah, you got a point. But at the same time, people want to see the wild shit that's going on. And if there's a website that is giving unfiltered content so we can see what's really going on, people are gonna naturally flock to it. And especially if it's crazy shit that gets people talking, oh yeah. But I mean, all that shit still happens. It just gets reposted and cropped out, censored, put on other platforms. Like,
when they hear you talk like that, they be like, well, why do you put all them negative images on WorldStar if you care so much about the community then?
I mean, again, we show everything, you know what I'm saying? It's not just going to paint this Disneyland picture for everyone wants to see.
but then again, on WorldStar, it is these people selecting, not necessarily users uploading whatever they want.
So we like to show the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you know that's our job as well, to be real. You know what I'm saying? I'm hip hop. You know, I was around hip hop since the birth, and you know, growing up, you know what I'm saying, the hood is all about keeping it real, loyalty, and I think that these videos were there before WorldStar. It's not just something that we created. You know what I mean?
Q has also said in relation to the controversy, we're showing people what's been going on forever, and people want to point at us and blame us for what's going on. He said that WorldStar was like the CNN of the ghetto. Another complaint was the hip-hop part of WorldStar HipHop, with people saying that Q and his platform were misrepresenting hip-hop and its culture. And based on some of his statements, that might not have been too far-fetched. Q once said, hip-hop is for the sex, the drugs, the violence, the beef, the culture. That's the competitiveness of hip-hop.
I think bro just missed the point. I think that's just a terrible take on what hip-hop is. Bro, that's the type of shit. This the type of nigga that thinks hell would be a party. Because if you really listen to hip-hop for the sex, drugs, violence, the beefs, and that's the culture, if that's what really got you drawn into hip-hop, bro, you might have to do some rethinking on your priorities, on your ambitions in life, you know? I'm just saying.
So I felt like the site needed to be R-rated. People may be offended by some of the content, but hey, the internet is not a censorship boat. We're the Carnival Cruise, man. You don't have to log on. It seems like in every single interview...
Oh my god. Yes, that just reminded me. This video reminded me. Back when twerking was a thing in 2013, every WorldStar HipHop video, it would just be a meme compilation. I'm just trying to watch Vines. Everything would just be bitches shaking ass. I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to see this. I'm a kid. There's a time and place for that. And it's not during a meme comp.
People may be offended by some of the content, but hey, the internet is not a censorship boat. We're the Carnival Cruise, man. You don't have to log on. It seems like in every single interview Q did, he was having to defend WorldStar from the public and the critics. WorldStar was so crazy that even Childish Gambino made a song called WorldStar where he was mainly mocking the viewers and partially the website for being obsessed with fame and going viral despite the violent or crazy actions that were necessary, which ironically is still a huge thing today. But it was
To say some things don't change, you know?
wasn't just critics who had a problem with WorldStar. 50 Cent and Q also had a little bit of a beef for a while. It's funny because it feels like every single video I do about anything 50 Cent is always involved one way or another. But regardless, in 2009, 50 Cent decided to sue WorldStar for using his image on their website without his permission. I don't think 50 cared that much, but he was definitely having some fun when he got a phone call to speak with Q.
I would like that very much. Could you please put him on the line?
All right, let me act. I don't want to get I gotta be fair. I can't set everybody up.
He's not gonna want to talk with me here. He's afraid for his life.
But can you hold on and I'll go check?
Angie, he's afraid for his life. Don't what's up me, you sucker. Don't what's up me, you sucker. I should black your eye.
Talk some shit, I'll black my eye.
I said, don't what's up me, you sucker. Tell him I was on my tour bus in 2003, you punk. And you created an area where everybody can try and hate on me. Pay with me if you want. Pay with me if you want. You see the suit and tie, you think I clean all the way up like that? Watch me show you some of the old me.
I'm trying to talk to you one-on-one.
All right, then you come to the office and we sit down and that's it.
All right,
we'll talk.
Bro, 50 is one of those niggas that you would not want to fuck with because he can be professional, show top tier restraint, and just come at you like a sensible man. Or he could go full nigga on you. And that's scary. You know, he survived 6 shots. What was it? How many shots he got shot? Survived? Nah, but still, 50 Cent, he's one of those dudes that he's really about it, you know?
Talk later. We talk later. Ain't nothing to talk about in the air. You heard me.
Because, I mean, 50 got connections. He's not that type of person you want to fuck with. And then, even more respectable, he could do damage himself, you know? I don't know how much respect you could put into some guy saying, here's a mill, go kill that dude. Because all he's doing is throwing money around, playing chess with people's lives, you know? When 50, he could do that. But he could also go out there and, not saying I'm putting respect on killers and people that do shit like that, but, if a boss can get out there and do the hard work himself, all respect, rather than paying people to do it. And 50 Cent, he's one of those bosses that could get out there and do that shit, because that's what he really came from.
I think some of that was jokes though, because eventually Q and 50 patched it up and settled the suit years later. But all of this goes to show how controversial WorldStar used to be. So in my opinion, it seems like they kind of tried to switch it up a little bit, and it seems as if they tried to use their platform for a bit more good. On top of that, WorldStar was struggling to compete with platforms like YouTube and Vine, which was a thing at that time. Q said, "There's no reason we shouldn't be standing up."
R.I.P. Vine. Let's get a moment of silence. What the fuck? You're 12? You mean, bro, 12-year-olds, they were barely born when Vine came out. That doesn't even sound real.
With the Snapchats, the Vines. We're missing that piece to make a full picture. It's all about finding the right team. And because of everything I just talked about, there obviously were some reasons why they weren't up there with those platforms. So it seemed like WorldStar began dipping their hands in other sorts of media as a way of expanding or pivoting. Eventually, it seemed as if WorldStar in its later years was more known for breaking artists or always having up-and-coming talent on their page, rather than just crazy clips. In 2008, WorldStar
Yeah, I remember, 2016, it got a little more mature. And then, around COVID, that's when I just never heard about WorldStar again. Until, small little things here and there.
Exclusively premiered its first big music video with Ace Hood and DJ Khaled's track Cash Flow. Q said, "Khaled saw we were growing fast and we got that first exclusive video. And that kind of made people realize we just didn't have crazy videos, but we premiered music videos too." It took a while for them to pivot to premiering videos as one of their main objectives, but eventually I think that was the next big thing they were known for.
Well, Stephen Derry, rappers want to be on it, so do aspiring video vixens. Sometimes they make news. Always the WorldStar HipHop website is a must-see for hundreds of thousands of viewers every day. And now they're branching out into new territory. On WorldStarHipHop.com, you'll see exclusive videos by hot rappers like Future, entertaining stunts, rants, fights, or outrageous videos.
Over the years, WorldStar helped break artists like 6ix9ine, YBN Amir, Smoke Perp, Ice Spice, Blueface, 21 Savage, and a ton more. Keep in mind I said they helped break these artists, putting out huge music videos in their early careers, because up until fairly recently they had tons and tons and tons of huge music videos posted to their page. Billboard said, "WorldStar has a long track record of being early on rap's rising stars. A lot of stuff broke on WorldStar. If Q felt a way about something, he really acted on it. There's a lot of stuff that wouldn't have happened in the industry if it wasn't for him. The streets pay attention to WorldStar. They dictate what's going on, what's hot in the..."
Imagine having that much of a pool. It's kind of like, to put it in terms we could probably understand, that's kind of like a Kai Cenat. Kai or Platboy Max. Let's say you're this large influencer, you have a platform, and you can put people on your platform where millions of people will see them, and they could take off or not, but it's all based on your decision if you want to platform them, if you want to follow a certain type. If you're that type of person that thinks the hip-hop culture is sex, drugs, and violence and beefs, then that's where the culture gonna be geared towards. But if you're someone who thinks should be more pushed more, if you think things should be pushed towards a more positive lens, I don't know why that was so hard for me to say, then it will show. So, Q had hella influence, and and probably wasn't what the culture really needed.
The culture. Their YouTube page particularly was like their last bastion of hope for the company. But then something happened that would derail WorldStar's future forever. On January 23rd of 2017, the founder of WorldStar, Lee O'Donnell, aka Q, tragically passed away at the age of 43. WorldStar issued a statement saying, Q was a brilliant businessman who championed urban culture, ultimately creating the largest hip-hop website in the world. But more than that, he was a devoted father and one of the nicest, most generous persons to ever grace this planet. And while Q was a controversial figure because of many people claiming he was just profiting off of terrible things, like The Guardian even saying that he started modern blaxploitation, it seemed as if Q genuinely had good intentions with his company. For example, a few years before his passing, Q made some documentaries about the life of inner cities of places like Chicago and Miami. According to Billboard, rather than treat low-income areas as aesthetic fodder, these videos gave voices to local residents and talent and attempted to flesh out the complex and complicated worlds so often glossed over by other outlets. But after Q died, it seemed like WorldStar did as well, and a lot of fans seem to share that same sentiment. Q definitely had a vision for the company and knew what he was doing. He was able to successfully pivot from the blog era to the social media era, utilizing other platforms like YouTube and Instagram. Right before he passed, he even announced that WorldStar was going to be premiering their own show on MTV, because Q was smart enough to realize that doing the same thing they were doing wouldn't last forever. But Q never got to see his brand make it to TV, and his vision was never fully realized. After the passing of Q, WorldStar was...
In 2017, TV was already dying, so I don't think that was a good move to save yourself.
Purchased by a company called Media Lab that owns other old and dying websites like Kick and DatPiff. And based on how those websites ended up, it's no wonder that WorldStar kind of fell apart too. Nowadays, WorldStar is in quite the sad state. Like, I checked out their website and it just seems outdated. Then I went to the Advertise on WorldStar page and it was just claiming that WorldStar is the #1 destination for hip-hop music and culture on the internet, which just isn't true. If you want to find new rap songs or culturally important things, you're gonna go to TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, and all these other sites that got...
Sadly, that is where we have to get our news from. You gotta hope that someone you like, someone you follow, promotes these types of people, or you just gotta get lucky and find an artist yourself. But shit, we need more platforms like that. We need more places where people can go and have all these different artists, or shit, anything. All these different people that are skilled at what they do just on one page, one platform, and we could just explore, just discover all of them. I don't know.
Dedicated pages to the stuff you're interested in. Not WorldStar's pages full of spammy posts that are almost all paid promotion. I actually looked at their prices and it's $5,000 for an Instagram post, $8,000 for a YouTube post, $2.5 for an Instagram story, and $3.5 for a TikTok post. But because so many people nowadays are buying this stuff, it's just overly saturated and no one really cares. So it definitely isn't worth the money. On top of that, a lot of their posts nowadays are just really lame and some of them are in very poor taste. Like when Takeoff died, they posted a picture of his body like it was just the news. And it's just such a poorly run page now. No one is really going to blogs these days. The younger generations look to pages on already established platforms like Instagram and TikTok. People are watching videos on pages like Complex, Rap TV, Barstool, and the millions of other random pages posting videos. And don't get me wrong, WorldStar is still around and getting decent views on their TikTok clips and Instagram posts, but they just don't bring anything unique to the table anymore. For example, Rap TV is one of the Instagram pages that's always on top of the news. Complex has had unique series like sneaker shopping. Barstool has their Caleb Presley interviews. All of these pages have things that are unique to them. But WorldStar no longer has the cultural impact that they once did. Like the crazy...
That's true. If all you got is your watermark on music videos, I mean, I guess, but that'll only take you so far. So, is the downfall of WorldStar, other than the main person in charge, instead of him passing away and then it just crumbling, would you guys say it was also a mix of other competitors, just timing? You know, they were on the top for a while. Maybe a fresh new face like Complex pops up and you're just like, oh yeah, that's new. I like it a little better, but I don't know.
Easy videos are breaking new artists. They aren't getting people like Diddy to do promotion on their page anymore. Not like that's really a good thing these days, but back then it was. Not to mention that most of the views they get these days are no longer on their...
Not like it was a good thing back then. Diddy back then still wasn't promoting anything positive for the culture. He was only promoting ignorance.
blog, but they're on other platforms. I think a fan on Reddit put it well when they said, this is just due to the age of blog/platforms other than social media kind of dying out. Attention has been monopolized by IG, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter.
Facts. Those 5 fucking apps. And it might be 4 because, you know, we're having tension with China, but it's kind of crazy how there's not another platform that people use. Instagram's been like the main thing for the past 10, almost 15 years. So we really got to get something else, guys. Someone please program, code some shit, use ChatGPT, figure out what to do, because we need some help.
TikTok, which kind of kills the air in the room for the other sites. It had a good run. Without Q there to come up with other ideas to keep WorldStar alive, instead Media Lab has the control of the website and seems to be letting it exist on life support, using the same old techniques that every other media page does nowadays. Q wanted WorldStar to stand out, and for a while it did have a cultural influence. But now that a big corporation has control of WorldStar, it seems as if the page has succumbed to that lifeless corporate nonsense that Q tried to avoid. If you like this video about the history of WorldStar...
Alright, and that brings me to my question. How long can you guys hold your success? When you get to that point that you want to be at, how long are you going to be able to run it for, you know? Like, he pretty much ran the 2010s with WorldStar. But after that, you know, after you're gone, in the Bible, I forgot what chapter, but I think it's Ecclesiastics, but there's something that's like, pretty much everything we do is pointless. Building a country, a territory, a kingdom, it's pointless, because in the end, you're gonna leave, and the person after you may fuck it up. If the person not after you, then the person after them, you know, and you see it all the time. That's why the only person that people really remember through thousands of hundreds of years are the people who discover things, the scientists. Jesus is the main person everybody knows of. Everybody knows his story, so I don't know. If you can be all I'm trying to say is, if you could be content with being on top, enjoying that time on top, but understanding it's not going to be permanent, you won't be gripping and clawing on, holding on to the success, trying to remain viral, you know? You would just gracefully get out of the spotlight. Like PewDiePie, bro, perfect example. PewDiePie is still popping. He dominated the 2010s. But now he has a family. He's a mature man with a family that he needs to take care of. So he knows it's more than just this internet shit. It's especially more than just him playing video games on the internet. And it comes down to just him growing, progressing, and realizing that was my run. It was a good run, but now I got other things that I need to tend to, so, you know, some things have to come to an end. And hey, hope you guys like this video. You know, this has to come to an end too, so I'm gonna stop rambling. If you want to watch the full uninterrupted version of this video, it'll be in the description. But drop a like, sub up, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.